Welcome to Mishia Madness and Motivation Podcast. This podcast is for anyone wanting to evolve in every aspect of their life. Do you want to be better and live life to your fullest potential? Tune in with your host, blogger, entrepreneur, and beauty executive, Mishia.
Hey everyone. Thank you for tuning back in with me today. I'm so excited to have you. Today we're joined with Mrs. Amanda Hall, and she is a survivor turned thriver. She's also a teacher and author of I Choose Me. And today she's going to tell us how she came to realize she was enough. Welcome, Amanda. How are you today? Thanks for being here.
I'm grand. Thank you so much for having me on and letting me speak and share my message, because I realize it's not just me that it's enough. Everybody is enough.
Yes.
But through my upbringing, my parenting of my family, school, society generally, they're trying to make us think that we're not enough and that we need something outside ourselves to be enough. And I followed that like a good robot all my life. And I wasn't happy. I didn't know who I was. And I've realized that I've had to get out of the box that society put me in, come out as I am, which is absolutely amazing. And now I can inspire children, because as being a teacher with young children, especially, they are our future, and they are born just as they need to be, with creativity, innocence, enthusiasm, and yet that is crushed out of them. So I want every parent, you are enough exactly what you're doing. Your child chose you, you chose them. I believe that. And you just shine bright like a diamond, and it's enough.
What are some ways that society tries to tell us that we are not enough?
Oh, it starts off as soon as comparisons happen at home within the family, and you're compared to your brothers and sisters. That's even before you've left the comfort of home. You're then put into classes and you're told, this is your grade, this is how you will react, this is what we expect of you. And what you want to sing out from your soul really is not even in question. Then you're expected to do exams, which in today's day and age, we've got answers at the end of a Google button. We don't need to learn half the things we need, which we have been learning. And in school, we need to know how to become our spirit, accept our bodies, and not listen to all our minds. And then when you go home, it's the television, it's the magazine, it's all types of advertising saying you need to look like this, you should be doing this, you should be eating this, and it's all the shoulds, woulds, and coulds. And I live my life by shoulds, woulds, and coulds, and now I'm banning those words from my vocabulary.
Yes, that is the truth. And it can be like daunting, you know, especially if you are the complete opposite of what everyone is expecting you to be.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think that that message is really important, that, you know, you are enough. So I was wondering, at what point in your life did you have the epiphany where it's like, this isn't me, you know, like I need to find who I am?
I knew I was unusual even as a child. I didn't think I fitted in. And I didn't, because I was a bit different. But I did what I was told, because I was a good girl, and good girls should, or would, exactly that language again. So I just did what I was told. I knew I wanted to be a teacher from the age of 15. I didn't get the qualifications, so it took me time. But because my passion was there, and that's where you need to find what gets you going, I carried on with that. But it wasn't literally till I became a mother at 40, and I wanted to be a mother of lots of children, and I got postnatal depression, and it just hit me, oh my gosh, and I just crumbled. And I wasn't known as Amanda anymore. I was suddenly somebody's mum, and I didn't know who I was. And literally about 3 years ago, I just took myself in hand, joined a group with Anna Garcia, Relation Intensive, which is amazing. I found a tribe of women, and we've all realized that we've been boxed up, and who you are is actually not your thoughts, that I thought I was my thoughts. I actually call my thoughts an ego, and I call them praxis now, because they just makes mistakes, and that's fine. I'm not my emotions either, because they come and go like visitors. I am me, and I can choose any moment who I want to be and show up to be.
What was the hardest part of going through the layers of yourself to find you?
Totally accepting that there were masks on my face in the first place. I think I had about 169 of them. So not only the labels were given, like mother, sister, daughter, teacher, it's how you think other people's opinions of me mattered. And so I didn't have any opinion of my own. And what I learned to say with a lot of resistance was, thank you, but what you think of me is none of my business. And the first time I said that, I went, it is my business, because that's how I got my self-worth. And then sitting in the discomfort of all those feelings, I went, well, actually, not everyone's going to like me. Not everybody has to like me. As long as I like myself and love myself, that's the space of strength and to come from. And that's what I want to inspire everybody. There's no right or wrong way of being. And yet we're taught from home, school, that there is a law, and I get that. But the way you show up in a place, even in school now, depending on how they're wearing the uniform, look at their faces. I say to the children, show me how you're showing up today. Oh, are you feeling this way? And I'll say some suggestions, but I don't want to put words into their mouths. But it is how you stand, how you smile. Your face is the first thing people see, whether you're approachable or not. And I know I am. My heart is joy. And that's who I am.
Awesome. So I just want to take it back a little bit. You said that you had your first child at the age of 40. Mm-hmm. And society may have a lot of things to say about that. So when you found out you were pregnant, what was the responses from the people around you, and how did it make you feel?
Well, my parents were in absolute shock and delight, because they knew I'd wanted to be a mum all the time. So we won't have to go to the adoption society. But I was labelled as a geriatric mother by the NHS, and I read it in my notes. And that's putting a label on me. I didn't feel geriatric. I think I was born old, and I'm getting younger as I get older, in fact. But what I did find, it was very lonely, because a lot of my friends who I went to school with, all their children were 18, 19 at this stage. I either had people who were 17, who I didn't fit with because our backgrounds and things we loved were different, or people had nannies, and I got on very well with them. But I just felt so isolated. I actually went back to school within 16 weeks because I just felt I wasn't enough at home. I just was left to my own devices, and my mind was playing awful tricks on me and saying I wasn't good enough. What are you playing at? All those things that, whatever your narrative is. And I realized I inherited those from my mom, and it stops you. It stops you from being out. It literally took me a year and a half to bond with Alessandro, and I wouldn't be without him. He's the best thing ever, and he's 13 now, and becoming a man of his own with his own opinions. And I've got to be so careful with how I phrase things, because it's so easy to come out with what your parents said to you. So I've got to accept him in his own beingness. Just because he doesn't do it the way I might have chosen to do it doesn't mean it's wrong. And me acknowledging that I'm not right, I can laugh about this, was a dreadful thing to have to admit. But actually, the fear of not being right and not looking good and not being accepted as an older mum, and all the judgments of other people affected me. But I don't care what people think anymore. I am me. I am choosing this path. I am choosing to be myself with my son. He can choose how he wants to be. As a family, we'll work together to iron out any kinks, but nobody has the right to dictate this is how you should live and this is how it shall be.
Yes, and you said something that I think is really important for the listeners to catch. You said, as a parent, you have to catch yourself to make sure you're not putting off what your parents put off on you. And I also saw that you said you do work with parents as well. What are some things that you teach them to be better parents? Just a few pointers that you give them.
The simple thing enough, and I had to do this myself first, was heal my inner child. And what I mean by that, you look in the mirror and connect with your eyes, because I do think they're the windows of your soul, and see the child within. And it took me with meditation to connect with her. And before, I had blamed my parents, I'd blamed friends, and that idea of blame and fault and shame was rife. I was acting as a victim. And I actually went back to her, saw her in this puddle of tears, and I went, okay, why isn't somebody looking after that child? And I thought, I'm the adult here. It's up to me to pick her up. And I did. And I have got such strength from that because she's got the curiosity, the innocence, and the fabulousness. I've got the experience. And together we are the whole Amanda. And what we do, because we become an adult, whatever age you want to say it, is, but we haven't fixed our wounds, our upsets, because we were told to be quiet as children, or I know better as the parents, or you do what I say, not what I do. And unless you have time to forgive yourself, forgive those around you, because in forgiveness, that is the greatest power and strength I have found. So now, wherever you are at, realize you are still a human being before you're a mother. And human beings aren't perfect. We have good days, we have bad days, but you just take it. And explaining to your children, I'm feeling like this today. I'm not dismissing this emotion, so I would appreciate if you can hold this space for me. And it's as simple as that. And once you do that, children are amazingly fabulous in how they will support you.
Yes, children don't get enough credit. They're very smart. They're very, loving, and they just know. And a lot of adults just assume, like you said, just do as I say, not as I do. Or they'll ask, well, why are we doing this? And it's because I said so, and I'm the parent. And it's like, they understand more than you think,
Oh, they do. And they're coming from love and an openness and a vulnerability that we lose as adults, the conditioning. And that freedom of worrying what other people will think. Children, if you see them on the beach and everything, they're with their sandcastles, they're building it. They don't care if it falls down. They're going to have another go. They got to anybody, hi, my name is, and join in. But as adults, we go in, even to mothers' groups, and we think, oh, my goodness, what will they think of me? And with me, I'm an older mother. Oh, my God, what will they think about me having a baby? And all this was going on in my head, and it was stopping me from actually showing up because I was too distracted in my mind. So I now say, stop it.
This is what we're going to think today, because these are the thoughts that we should be thinking.
Yes.
What was going on personally in your life when you got started with Mood Munchers, and how did the Mood Munchers come about for you?
I'd finished my book, I Choose Me, because my belief in I Choose Me was a selfish thought. That's how I'd been brought up. And I realized now that unless I choose myself and make myself truly happy and love myself entirely, I cannot show up to love other children in my professional life and in home. I'm an ELSA, which is an emotional literary support teacher, and I work with children who have difficulties acknowledging their emotions, accepting them, and they don't fit into the criteria of this is how you should behave in a classroom. There's that should and would again. And I was looking for books to describe the emotions, and they were all about the child being the emotion. And I thought, no, we are not the emotions. Children do say, I am happy. They're not, they're feeling happy. I am sad. I'm not, I'm feeling sad. So I created the Mood Munchers, which are here. And I've done all, not just the 4 main ones are fear, happiness, sadness, and anger. Those children will relate to. But what I've done is incorporated compassion, shame, guilt, because those are the lower 4 that people don't like to talk about, and yet we do feel them, but they're not out there discussed. And I want to know that these things come and go, but you can have that feeling, but it's not going to last all day. And with these, I've made them colourful. I want children to interact with them. And I did read my book, I'll Get Me Out of Here, to a child. And he went, oh, Blaze, who's this character? I said, he came to visit with me. Yes, but I took his advice and I went outside, calmed down for 10 seconds, and then he disappeared. But for giving them a name for the emotion, and they can interact with it and talk to it like, hi, I see you come to visit today. That's fine. Let's play out this, because you mustn't avoid them, because that's how we repress things and then we get messed up. This is my way of letting them come to life. I'm going to produce puppets to do, and I just want to encompass them to become real characters that children can, and adults, because the child in you needs to identify with those things, especially like Gil, who's guilt, and Rue, who's my shame character. So, yeah.
Yes, I'm so excited because I'm sure I'm not the only one who knows parents who could use these books or just know of children, because I have some teacher friends as well, and they have, children in their class, like you said, where their behavior doesn't fit with what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah. Where can the parents find your book to purchase? And I'll leave the link.
They're on Amazon. If you look under Amanda Hill Ryall, it's Ryall. They're available there. I think it's on .co.uk, obviously me being in the UK. But I want to spread this message out worldwide, because we are all human, we all have emotions, and actually having something tangible that children can understand. At the moment I am rewriting, this one was for children, so if I showed you, this one is compassion. I had trouble with compassion, thinking as an adult, what does that mean? It says, hi, my name's Pash, and I show compassion where it is needed. I'm full of love and understanding for everyone, and I want to spread my feelings wherever I go. So that's how we really want to show up in life. But this is for the child. I'm now going to write this using these characters, one for parents with our limiting beliefs as parents, and then I'm going to write one for teachers, because obviously teachers working with children can stand back a bit and not be so emotionally involved. So it's a different message I want to put out there.
Oh, and it's so important. It's such an important message, man, because the children are the future. And we have these jaded adults that aren't taking the time or don't even have the words. And you found the words and you put them in this beautiful book. And I'm really excited about that. I also want to talk about, well, before we talk about your book, have you always wanted to be a teacher?
From the age of about 15, I was actually in Ireland with my parents on holiday, and this little 4-year-old, we were staying at B&B, and we knew the family, and she walked in and she had her first day in nursery. She was like, oh, look what I did. And she was just full of this joy, happiness, and absolute delight. And I just went, oh, that's what I want. That's what I've got to be connected with, because I was a serious child and I wanted to get back to that childish play quality that we all have, but we've got to be sensible and grown up and act our age. And I'm different from teachers because I don't see a class in front of me. I look at every individual. And in a class of 24 or 30 children, you will have at least 10 different personality types. You will have different learning types. And it's not up to the children to get it. It's up to me as a teacher to put it in a way that they understand. So I'm really happy for teachers and children say to me, Mrs. Hill, I love what you're saying, but I don't understand it at all. Could you put it in another way, please? And I have to do it because when I was little, oh my goodness, if I'd said that to a teacher, I'd have got the, wooden spoon on my hand, because you weren't allowed to do that. And I thought I had a limiting belief that I wasn't good enough. I was stupid. I was often called that at school, and nobody is that. We are fabulous just as we are, and we've just all got different ways of learning, and that has got to be celebrated, acknowledged, and provision made for it.
Absolutely. So what is the most rewarding part of, what has been the most rewarding part of finding yourself?
It's that I can't believe how simple it is. It probably sounds mad, but I lived in the past of regret and in future worry, and I was never here, now, present. And then actually, I do have a morning routine that I do, so I have to have time for myself. And in doing that, I come home to myself, and I just realize there's nothing to worry about, because in this moment, we're here. That's it. And it's how I show up and choose to be. I can get lost in my mind. I go, oh, look, there I go again, running away with myself. And I just stop it. So it's allowed me to interact and actually listen to people rather than having that conversation in my mind, as, we have a habit of talking to people, but we're not really listening to what they're saying. I spend time with children to listen to what they want rather than thinking what is it that I want. And if I have that openness, with there's nothing wrong with me, there's nothing wrong with you, and we can just connect and interact, it's just so freeing. I can't tell you.
Oh, for your morning routine,
Yes.
what are some things that people who are looking to remain balanced and kind of control their thoughts to be good, and what are a few things that they can do in a morning routine? Like what are some of the things that you made a part of your morning routine?
Well, the first thing is meditation, and I hated the idea. I'm going to be hot. The idea of silence was deafening. Literally, I had the radio on, the TV on. There was noise all around me because I was always in the doing. And my husband used to say this to me, and I'd say, yes, I'm busy, fabulous person. But I wasn't happy. And actually, I started just with 5 minutes, and that seemed like an hour to me the first time. I'm holding my hands up to it. But I can't do without it now, because when you're sitting quietly and you connect with your breath, what I say is you're born with your breath, you die with your breath. Your breath is with you your whole life. And it's actually something that can center you so beautifully. And the mind will try and distract you. But then I just catch it and go, oh, there you go again. That's why I call it a name and say, right, now we're coming back to the breath, coming back to the breath. And I now meditate for 40 minutes a morning. Then I do a little bit of exercise. Now, I don't like to exercise, I'll be honest with you, but I do love a bit of a dance around the kitchen to my latest grooves, and that's good enough for me. I do journaling, and this has been a life changer, because journaling, I was a person that always had to go to other people for validation. Is this idea good? Is this idea good? And I never trusted myself. You will have interactions during the day that people will annoy you, push your buttons, be triggered, and rather than complaining and, as I say, vomiting all over somebody with my complaints, I just write them out to myself, and it cuts out. And you'll find that it reveals there's a similar pattern running. Mine was, nobody listens to me, I'm not good enough. That stops now, because now I've just thought, well, that's a story. I made it real. When am I ready to give that up? But we're so attached to our stories and the way we think we are, we're terrified, because who would I be without that limiting belief or that narrative I inherited from my mom and dad? You would be you is the answer, but society doesn't let us be us. They want us to be put in this way and this way and this way. And I'm saying no more.
That is really interesting that you say that, because I know someone really close to me who they get triggered throughout the day, and they have started to journal. And it's more so, I'm not sure, because I'm just speaking from the outside looking in, but it's more of a just, let me get this release. Let me write out, and I've seen them be angry and just go in and write. But it is something to go back and reflect and say, this is a pattern.
Yeah. And you'll be surprised what comes out when you really let go, because it's secret, this isn't to be shared, your journal. And you can just, if you're frustrated with your child or your husband or your friend or work colleagues, you can just write it all out. And then your mind is empty and you can rest, because also sleep is important. A lot of my triggers was that I was overtired. And I have an evening routine that I do meditation, I do my journaling. I prepare for the next day so that I don't even have to think about what to wear, because otherwise my mind will go, oh, well, that was not good, and you wore that yesterday. But if it's all laid out, there's nothing to think about. It's just, I'm ready, I'm up, ready to live another day full out.
So would you say that preparation definitely helps you?
I think your mind needs formation, it needs structure. Because without structure, it'll start talking away at you. And if you're thinking, how does it talk? It's that little voice that's asking that question right now. So I have the structure that I have my meditation. I do my 7 steps, which is where I forgive myself for anything I haven't done. I express gratitude. I acknowledge where I've come from. I choose how I'm going to show up to be, whether it be joy, whether it be love, compassion, patience, sometimes even. And then I think, well, how am I going to love myself today? It might be a bubble bath. It might be going for a walk and having me time. So that's all part of it. And then it's really looking at your environment and making it accessible for you and what your needs are.
Awesome. Can we talk about your book, I Choose Me? Who is this book for?
This is, I thought maybe for women, but you know what? It's not. It's anybody who's stuck in that rut. Anybody who thinks, I'm not good enough. or who compares themselves with other people because we've been trained to do that, and feels empty inside. We've all got a void inside ourselves, and we thought we can either fill it with food. Some people fill it with alcohol. Some people fill it with shopping. And you think more, and I'll feel better. But that void doesn't go away, because what you have to do is face your past and realize it's your past. Your past stays there. It's only if you bring it into the now that it has effect. Your future hasn't been written yet. It can be anything you want to be. And it's the choice of coming home to yourself, choosing yourself, and being totally happy with yourself. So in the book, I've got, because I did suffer from depression, as I said, but my chapters, if I can just read them, is who am I, because I was lost on who I was. Belonging, because you do need a family or a set of friends or a community to belong to. Your narratives that you inherited. Your addictions, and what I mean about addictions, going for the sugar when you're low, going for a Friday glass of wine or whatever. Avoidance under the duvet, which was me when I was at my lowest ebb because I couldn't see the wood for the trees. Embrace your inner child, because it's still there. And then stay in your lane. When I first heard that expression, stay in your lane, I went, what lane? Because I was so busy driving in other people's lanes and organizing their lives and solving their problems, I didn't even have a lane. And that's taken a lot of training to realize, no, this is my focus. I don't have to get involved, which is my tendency, in other people's to be enough. I am enough as I am. At the end of each chapter, I have activities that I've done myself that I recommend people do, and I've given my reflection of them, how it went for me. Because obviously we're all different and we'll come together, but you want concrete things that you can do to see a change in you.
Oh my goodness. So it's not only a book, it's a workbook.
It is. It's just ideas that I've done, rather like that. Who am I? Acknowledging your inner child, seeing it. So what I do here is stop, look at your face. How do you look? Close your eyes. Imagine you're saying that all those things that you say to yourself to a small child. And when you do that, you say, oh, I'd never do that. But yet you're saying that to yourself every day. So what emotion comes up, name it, acknowledge it, sit with it, and that isn't easy because it can be really uncomfortable. Hear the judgment that you have on yourself, and then forgive yourself. Sorry. We'll say sorry to others, but we very rarely acknowledge and say sorry to ourselves for thinking that. So that was life-changing for me.
Oh my goodness. I am so happy that you were able to come on the podcast today, because
thank you.
You have so many gems to share with everyone. And I definitely encourage every single parent or teacher to go out and get the Mood Munchers book, but also for anyone looking to finally choose yourself.
And not the titles and the labels we've been given. Who wants to find the real purpose, the real connection with the heart and your spirit?
Yes. And that your book, I Choose Me, is also on Amazon.
Yes, absolutely. So loving yourself is your own magic wand, which came to me and I went, why didn't anybody tell me that years ago?
No, but it's awesome that you're letting everyone know now. You're not keeping the information to yourself.
No, because we've all got this power inside us, and I'm not playing safe and small anymore. I'm just going to step out, lean into it. And you know what? When you lean into your fear, because everyone has a fear of something, actually, it's not that bad. And you just think, why was I scared of that or showing up to be this person for years? It's all this mind. So you just got to mind the mind.
Yes, because it can get crazy in there. You'll start to make up all of these scenarios that just weren't even going to happen. But because you're dwelling on them, they're more likely to happen.
But it does happen, because if you think about it enough, it does come true. Whereas me, I empty my mind. I think, no, I'm choosing to be happy and positive. And if I'm feeling a bit low, I'll just put the radio on and start moving, because actually moving your body gets you out of that place. So that's really good.
Is there any quote or saying that you hold dear that you would love to share with everyone? I usually do like a quote of the day. I can't even speak. I usually do a quote of the day. Do you have any advice?
My one is, I choose me, you choose you. In choosing me, I'm not choosing against you.
I like that, because a lot of people believe that it's selfish. They're like, oh, well,
yeah.
I
used to think that's true because I was taught I put other people first. But what we're doing, if you think of a child or sort of a teenager, if you're not looking after your own welfare, your own well-being, your own mental energy, your own energy, nobody else is going to do it for you. And how can you serve other people? Because you're running on empty. And actually, just because I'm putting myself forward, it doesn't make me selfish. It just means that I am now in a calm, peaceful, happy place where the judgments of other people do not matter to me. And I can just show up and give love and compassion and openness.
Yes.
Yeah, you can hold space for people to be exactly how they are. And we very rarely do that.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. It was such a pleasure having you on.
No, it's amazing. I love your energy. I love what you're about. So keep sharing, keep shining, keep being as beautiful as you are. Enjoy yourself. Go out there and make a difference. Mwah.
Thank you.
Mishia Madness and Motivation Podcast was ecstatic to have you today. Until next time.